The sound of the slap echoed through the crowded mall, followed by my 7-year-old daughter Emma's heartbreaking cry. I stood frozen, watching my child clutch her reddened cheek while my sister-in-law, Victoria, towered over her, a designer bag clutched protectively to her chest. "How dare you touch my Gucci with your filthy hands?" Victoria snarled, her perfectly manicured fingers still raised. "Poor kids shouldn't touch expensive things. My name is Diana, and I never thought I'd witness my sister-in-law assault my child in broad daylight." But there we were, standing in the middle of Maxwell Mall's luxury wing, with shocked shoppers gathering around us. Emma ran to me, burying her tear-stained face against my legs. "Mommy, I just wanted to look at the butterflies," she whimpered, referring to the delicate embroidery on Victoria's bag. My heart shattered as I held her close, feeling her small body shake with sobs. Victoria adjusted her silk blouse, looking down at us with the same contempt she'd shown since I married her brother James 5 years ago. Well, now she's learned her lesson of touching things that don't belong to her class. The way she said class made my blood boil. Ever since James's accident last year left me a widow raising Emma alone, Victoria had made it her mission to remind us that we no longer belonged in their wealthy social circle. But this hitting my child was beyond anything I could have imagined. "She's 7 years old, Victoria," I said, my voice trembling with rage. "She's your niece." Victoria rolled her eyes, checking her reflection in a store window. "Step-niece," she corrected, "and clearly one who needs to learn some manners." "Really, Diana, this is what happens when children aren't raised properly." A small crowd had gathered, some people filming with their phones. Victoria seemed to notice them for the first time, her expression shifting from disdain to concern. "Oh, don't make a scene," she hissed. "This is exactly why I told James you weren't right for this family. No class, no breeding." I felt Emma flinch at her words, and something inside me snapped. Looking around, I spotted the security cameras mounted in the corners of the luxury wing. I had worked at this mall during college. I knew their surveillance system was top-notch. "You're right, Victoria," I said calmly, surprising both her and myself. "Let's not make a scene. But you should know those security cameras caught everything, and I will be requesting the footage." The color drained from her face. "You wouldn't dare. Do you know who I am in this community? Who my husband is?" I stroked Emma's hair, feeling her trembling subside slightly. "Yes, I know exactly who you are. You're someone who just assaulted a child on camera because she admired your handbag." Victoria's perfectly lined lips twisted into a snarl. "You ungrateful little. After everything our family has done for you. Living in that house my brother left you, surviving off his insurance money." "My house," I corrected her. "My husband's insurance, which he paid for to protect us. And now I'm going to protect our daughter from you." "Our daughter." Victoria laughed, but I could see fear creeping into her eyes. "She's nothing but a gold digger's spawn. When I'm done, you'll both be out on the street where you belong." She turned on her designer heels and stormed off, leaving a wake of whispers and foam cameras in her path. I knelt down to Emma's level, gently touching her reddened cheek. "I'm sorry, baby," I whispered, fighting back tears. "I'm so sorry she hurt you." Emma looked up at me with those eyes so much like her father's. "It's okay, Mommy. I shouldn't have touched her bag." "No, sweetheart. She was wrong, not you. And I promise she'll never hurt you again." As I held my daughter, a mall security officer approached us. "Ma'am, we saw what happened on our monitors. Would you like to file a report?" I straightened up, keeping Emma's hand firmly in mine. "Yes," I replied. "And I'd like a copy of the security footage, please." Victoria had no idea what she just started. She thought she could bully us because we weren't as wealthy as her family. She thought money and social status gave her the right to hurt my child. But she was about to learn that a mother's love was more powerful than any designer handbag or social connection. As we followed the security officer to their office, I received a text from Victoria. "Back off, or you'll regret it. Remember who holds the power in this family." I smiled, thinking of the security cameras that had captured everything. "We'll see about that," I whispered to myself, holding Emma closer. The real power wasn't in Victoria's threats or her husband's influence. It was in the truth, and soon everyone would see it. The security footage was worse than I remembered. Watching in the mall security office, I felt sick as Victoria's hand connected with Emma's face in crystal clear detail. The audio picked up every cruel word, every hateful statement about our class and breeding. We can have copies ready for you within an hour, Officer Martinez said, his expression grim. Will you be pressing charges? Before I could answer, my phone exploded with messages. Victoria had been busy. My in-laws' family group chat was on fire. Diana is trying to destroy our family's reputation. She provoked Victoria by letting her unruly child misbehave. This is exactly why James should have listened to us about marrying beneath him. Then came the private message from my father-in-law. Drop this now, Diana. You don't want to make an enemy of this family. I looked at Emma, who had fallen asleep in the security officer's chair, tear tracks still visible on her cheek. I thought about all the times I'd stayed quiet for family peace. The snide comments about my background, the exclusion from family events, the constant reminders that we weren't good enough. Yes, I told Officer Martinez. I want to press charges. He nodded, typing into his computer. The footage has already been secured. It can't be deleted or altered. That's when Victoria burst into the security office, her husband Marcus in tow. He was a corporate lawyer, known for making problems disappear for wealthy clients. This is all a misunderstanding, Marcus announced smoothly. We can handle this as a family matter. Family matter? I stood up, positioning myself between them and Emma. Your wife assaulted my daughter in public. Now, Diana, Marcus used his courtroom voice, let's be reasonable. Victoria was simply disciplining an unruly child. Any judge would see that. Any judge would see a grown woman striking a 7-year-old for admiring her purse. I corrected him. And now they will. Victoria stepped forward, her voice sickly sweet. Diana, darling, think about Emma's future. Do you really want to be known as the woman who sued her own family? Who'd hire her? Who'd accept her into their schools? I felt Emma stir behind me. She'd woken up and was listening, her small hand clutching my jacket. Are you threatening my daughter's future because your wife got caught on camera assaulting her? I asked loudly, making sure Officer Martinez could hear. Marcus grabbed Victoria's arm. No one's threatening anyone. We're simply trying to resolve this privately. Name your price. My price? I pulled out my phone, showing him the messages from the family group chat. Like how you're trying to paint me as a gold digger? How you're already spreading lies about what happened. Victoria's composure cracked. You ungrateful witch. We took you in when you were nothing. James could have had someone from our circle, but he chose you, and look how you repay his memory. Mom? Emma's voice was small but clear. Is Aunt Victoria sorry for hitting me? The room fell silent. Victoria's face twisted in disgust. Sorry? You little brat, you should be sorry for touching things that aren't yours. Officer Martinez stepped forward. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Do you know who we are? Marcus demanded. One call from me to your supervisor. Would be recorded on our security system. Officer Martinez finished calmly, just like everything else that's happened in this room. I watched their faces as it sank in. They weren't in control anymore. Their money and connections couldn't erase what the cameras had captured. Victoria's phone chimed. She looked at it and went pale. Marcus, she whispered. It's trending. Someone in the mall had posted their video of the incident. In the 20 minutes we'd been in the security office, it had already gone viral. Comments were pouring in, most of them identifying Victoria by name. Take it down, she demanded, shoving her phone in my face. Fix this now. I can't, I replied truthfully. I didn't post it. But maybe you should have thought about cameras before assaulting a child in public. Marcus pulled out his checkbook. $10,000. Right now. This ends here. I looked at Emma, seeing James's strength in her eyes. No, I said firmly. This ends when Victoria faces consequences for once in her life. You'll regret this, Victoria spat. When I'm done, you'll be living in a cardboard box. As they stormed out, Emma tugged my sleeve. Mom, did I do something wrong? I knelt beside her. No, sweetheart, you did nothing wrong. And I promise you, no one will ever hurt you like that again. Officer Martinez cleared his throat. Ma'am, there's something else you should know. After your sister-in-law left the mall, she was recorded in the parking lot making some concerning statements, threats, specifically. We have that footage too. I nodded, feeling strangely calm. Add it to the file, please. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from James's Aunt Catherine, who had always been kind to us. Just saw the video. That woman is no longer welcome at any family event I host. Are you and Emma okay? Do you need a lawyer? I know several who would love to handle this. Then came texts from other family members, ones who had stayed quiet during Victoria's previous bullying. The video had forced them to take sides, and her mask had finally cracked. As Officer Martinez finished processing our complaint, I received one last message from Victoria herself. Last chance. Drop this or I'll show the world what kind of woman my brother really married. I smiled, thinking of the security footage, the viral video, and the parking lot threats, all safely documented. Victoria still thought she held all the cards, still believed her money and social status would protect her. She had no idea what was coming next. Victoria's attempt to show the world what kind of woman I was backfired spectacularly. The next morning, she posted a carefully edited version of the mall incident on social media, painting herself as the victim of an ungrateful sister-in-law who let her unruly child damage expensive property. What she didn't expect was the mall's official response. Regarding the incident at Maxwell Mall on Saturday, we have released the complete security footage to the authorities. It clearly shows no damage to any property but does show an adult striking a 7-year-old child for touching a handbag. We have a zero-tolerance policy for violence against children. The full footage went public that afternoon. Every angle, every cruel word, even Victoria's threats in the parking lot afterward. Her social circle imploded. The charity boards she sat on, the elite social clubs she belonged to, suddenly, everyone had seen her true colors. I'm resigning from the Children's Hospital Foundation board, my father-in-law announced at the emergency family meeting he called. They made it clear I wasn't welcome after what your wife did, Marcus. Victoria sat rigid in her designer outfit, her face a mask of fury. This is all your fault, she shrieked at me. You've ruined everything. No, Victoria, Aunt Catherine cut in. You ruined everything when you hit your niece, and we let you get away with too much for too long. The family's longtime lawyer cleared his throat. There's something else. Mrs. Chen from the mall's luxury boutique called. She has footage of several incidents involving Victoria and store merchandise disappearing. She was waiting to report it, but after seeing the video, Victoria's face went white. Marcus stood up, his lawyer mask finally cracking. You told me those bags were gifts from friends. I watched their perfect world crumble, feeling no satisfaction, only relief that Emma would never be hurt by them again. Diana, my father-in-law said quietly, what do you want from us? Name it. I thought about James, about how he'd always tried to shield me from his family's cruelty, about how he'd made me promise to stay strong if anything happened to him. I want 3 things, I said firmly. First, Victoria gets help, real help for her issues. Second, she writes Emma a genuine apology. And third, I pulled out some papers. I want you all to sign this. What is it? Marcus asked suspiciously. A legally binding agreement to never contact us again unless we initiate it. Emma deserves to grow up without fear of her aunt's next outburst. Victoria lunged for the papers, but Marcus grabbed her arm. Enough, he snapped. You've done enough damage. Looking at his wife with new eyes, he picked up a pen. I'll sign. And Victoria will too, or she can find herself a new lawyer husband. One by one, they signed. Victoria's signature was last, her hand shaking with rage. You think this makes you better than me? She spat. You're still nothing but a... Choose your next words carefully, Aunt Catherine interrupted. The world has seen enough of your true nature. Later that evening, as Emma and I ate ice cream on our front porch, she asked me a question that broke my heart. Mom, are we really never going to see them again? I pulled her close. Not unless we want to, sweetheart, and that's okay. Family isn't about who you're related to. It's about who loves you and treats you with kindness. She nodded, then smiled. Like Ms. Martinez's daughter at school, she invited me to her birthday party next week. Exactly like that. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Local socialite steps down from multiple charity boards following viral assault video. Below it was a message from Marcus. The divorce papers are being filed tomorrow. I'm sorry for everything. I deleted both without responding. Victoria's world of designer bags and social status had crumbled, but ours was just beginning to bloom. Emma was healing, making real friends who liked her for who she was, not for her family name. A week later, a package arrived from Aunt Catherine. Inside was a beautiful butterfly embroidered purse, perfectly sized for a 7-year-old girl. The note read, "For Emma, because every little girl deserves to touch beautiful things. Love, your real family." Emma's face lit up as she traced the butterflies with her finger. No fear, no hesitation, just joy. And that, in the end, was worth more than all of Victoria's designer bags combined.